Atrioc explaining inflation to Zoomers. Let's hear what Atrioc has to this, how he describes it.
I want to talk about sort of the situation we find ourselves in most of the countries that you guys live in. Now, okay, here's the thing. Here's the deal. And this is why it's probably good that we do this now. When you hear the words inflation or you hear something like interest rates, it's very easy for your brain to be like, this. I think a lot of times these terms are designed and obfuscated in a way to make it hard to focus. And so I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. But I also understand that we need to open with a round of, let's just all say, glizzy hands, yep coke. Let's just get all that fun stuff out of the way.
Okay, come on.
Do any of you guys know, you probably don't, maybe you do, the investor Charlie Munger? Yes, no, yes, no, you don't know? All right, he's Warren Buffett's business partner. He's one of the best investors in history. Pretty old, but he has one of the best track records in history. He dropped this incredibly dire interview. This is him on the right, okay?
And the stock market is down a bit this year, maybe because of inflation. I want to ask you specifically about inflation. Are we looking at a prolonged decline in the markets because of inflation? Is inflation on the rise?
Yeah, one of the best. Wait, isn't this the guy that made the prison dorms, dude? This is Prison Dorm Andy, right? Wait, you said this was a good video. Please tell me he's not gonna fucking... Yeah, he is the one who made the prison dorms. Dear UC Santa Barbara, don't let a petulant billionaire build a prison dorm on your campus. That's awesome.
And should we be concerned about it?
Well, let me take that in the reverse order. Inflation is a very serious subject. You can argue it's the way democracies die. When democracy dies in Latin America, inflation is a big part of it. So it's a huge danger once you've got a populace that learns it can vote itself money.
Listen to that phrase, though. Listen, there's a lot of knowledge in this guy. I know he's like a walking corpse. I get it. But let's pull out some of the things he's saying. Number one, this is how democracies die. Number two, once a population learns they can vote themselves money.
What?
Okay? That is key. We're going to get to that in a second. Let's finish off his...
Bro, Latin American countries have functionally no fucking control over their own currency in the same way that the United States of America does. What the fuck kind of conversation is this, dude? Of course, Turkey can't fucking control its own currency in the same way that the United States can. The United States, the dollar, the petrodollar runs the entire world economy. What the fuck? So was it Allende famously died of inflation? Yes. The OG 9/11. Also, the unique circumstance that America finds itself in is also ever prescient when we talk about the biggest democracy murderer in Latin America, which is also, once again, the United States of America.
His thing, though.
If you look at the Roman Republic, even after they went to a empire with an absolute...
Also, I can't even get over this. Okay, the last thing I'm going to say is, hello, voting for free money for yourself is literally the only thing rich people do. As a matter of fact, rich people don't even have to vote for anyone to vote for money for themselves, because in America, they've already captured both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So that's precisely what both of these bourgeois capitalist fucking parties do. What do I always tell you? God, I repeat myself so much. Okay? It's fucking peasant mentality to think that moral hazard only applies to you. Okay? It's peasant mentality. It's serf mentality to assume that when you, the working poor, get money, it's actually a bad thing. The rich never ask about that. The rich actually already are entitled to all the fucking handouts. And not only that, but they also game the system and change it so that they get all the fucking handouts nonstop.
Absolute ruler. They inflated the currency steadily for hundreds of years, and eventually the whole damn Roman Empire collapsed.
And then this guy tries to get him to talk in lighter news. So the interviewer's like, wow, that's dark. The collapse of society. And so he goes,
Is it something investors need to be worried about, specifically when it comes to growth stocks right now?
this guy's, let's talk about fucking Zoom stock, dude. It's like, what are you talking about hundreds of years of collapse? I want to talk about if fucking, is Facebook going up, bro?
Well, I think the safe assumption for an investor is that over the next 100 years, the currency is going to zero.
Wow.
Long pause and a wow. I love that Charlie Munger at age 98 is thinking in 100-year timelines. This guy fucking, he wants to talk about anything else. He wants to talk about anything else than Charlie Munger telling him the world's going to collapse. But okay, look, maybe he's a little too doom and gloom, but I want to talk about what he said here real quick, which is basically that rampant inflation is one of the biggest causes of societal unrest because any savings that the middle class has accumulated becomes rapidly worthless. So let's take a look at this chart right here. This chart right here is the amount of money. This is basically the amount of money that the government's printing. And then right around the pandemic, it spiked at a level never before seen. And now it's at all-time colossal, crazy banana bears high.
I wouldn't laugh at him. Berkshire Hathaway has double-digit outperformed the market for like 3 decades. Okay. Sick. Damn, dude. That makes me trust him less. Like, I personally, don't even get me fucking started, okay? Damn, dude. I can't believe he's the best at doing capitalism. Fuck, bro. I don't know who's. Are you familiar with this community and like the attitude that we have towards this? Like,
let me back up a little bit. So when the housing crisis, 2007, when the great financial crisis happened, we were set for a pretty big depression. And what stopped it was the government just printing a bunch of money, basically doing massive bailouts, flooding the market with free money. And it worked.
This video is the exact same video that Johnny Harris just described. This is the same take. Like, I would rather listen to Charlie Munger and shit on him than Atriok describe this.
And unfortunate thing about that working is that we haven't stopped that strategy since. And, this happens slowly over time, but since the pandemic, it's been absolutely insane. And so for the first year of it, it's like everything's on crack. And that's why we got fucking NFTs to the moon, Dogecoin going crazy, housing prices skyrocketing. But the hangover effects of that is that money starts to become less valuable per dollar. That's inflation. And so we're starting to get the highest recorded inflation ever. It's happening.
Dude, that's fucking nuts, dude. That's crazy, though. Look at that. Big A is cool. You guys are on the same side. No, I like Atriok. Jerome Sama, you did it. I mean, I'm just showing you this for no reason other than that it's interesting. You know what I mean? Interesting.
Inflation.
What am I supposed to glean from this graph? I don't even know how the fuck we got here. Oh, we were talking about inflation and shit. Meanwhile, corporate profits are soaring. Okay? They're soaring.
Like crazy. Now I want to explain real quick. So I want to explain very simply, basically, when you hear interest rates, like the government sets interest rates, it's hard to figure out what that means or what's going on. Interest rates are based. So imagine this is the Federal Reserve. It's just a big pile of infinite money. And the banks borrow from this and then loan the money out to you. Basically, interest rates are the cost of borrowing money. That's it. And the government can set it by what they charge banks to borrow from them. And if you want to juice the economy a little bit, if things are rough, let's say we have a big housing crisis, what you can do is you can lower the interest rate. When interest rates are high, like if you have money sitting in a bank, you'll get a lot of money if you're just sitting there. But when they're low and borrowing money is easy, then everyone starts borrowing money to do things like start businesses and hire employees and build factories. And so it juices your economy. The problem is when interest rates are low, you can't just stash your money in a bank and make money. So you can.
Except that's not what happens anyway. Like, that's never what happens anymore. The idea that oh, you can actually fucking, interest rates are low, so now you want to borrow money because it's like cheap as fuck to borrow money so you can grow your fucking widget factory business is a false notion. That doesn't happen. Okay? It can happen and it's supposed to happen, but it fucking doesn't happen. Also, I was right. He is literally saying exactly what fucking, he just straight up said exactly what Johnny Harris has been saying. Am I crazy?
You can see over the past, 30 years, the government has been continually lowering interest rates to try and juice the economy. And then after 2008, they basically dropped them to zero. Money is essentially free to borrow. So right about now is when it's starting to get, because we did so much in the past year. Interest rates were zero. We printed a fuck ton of money and the dollar started to be worth less and less. And so you're faced with two choices. To get inflation back under control, they have to raise interest rates. And the second it becomes more expensive to borrow, companies start collapsing. Companies that were like basically shoddily run zombie companies. Yeah, our entire economy is basically running on credit and debt. And so...
Okay, never mind. He's not wrong about this part. He is right about this. Don't say wrong. He's not wrong about this part. Our entire economy is run on speculation and debt. That's it. We don't produce anything. Every fucking mega corporation every corporation either A, completely relies on government subsidies, or B, completely relies on speculation and credit, which to some degree is still controlled by the government, or at least the Fed. He's not wrong. What are we making? There's nothing. We got nothing. That's the U.S. economy, baby. The only fucking productive, viable industry that we have, pretty much, is the gun manufacturers. Okay, and turns out that's not a great idea because it's got some domestic problems. The other one is, of course, the military-industrial complex, and that, of course, is, again, like I mentioned, heavily reliant on our tax-paying dollars going into R&D and also going into, murder machines that we're making. So,
Single administration knows that there's a problem, that inflation is starting to get worse and worse and worse. But they also know that if they are the ones to pull the plug on the party, their whole party loses. That it's basically hot.
I love when people say, what about Silicon Valley? What about Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley is basically a sexy, like, confusing tech way of just saying we're going to deregulate key sectors like the service industry. We're going to make it even shittier. What about Silicon Valley? What is Silicon Valley creating? It's the worst of the worst as far as like the same speculation I was talking about. Every fucking VC is personally looking for the next goddamn Uber. They're looking for the next unicorn. So that's precisely why they have a fuckload of like free money and cash swirling around. So they just like dump $1 million here, dump $1 million there, because they all are angel investors. Ultimately with the hope that like the next Uber is someone that they're dumping $1 million into. A lot of motherfuckers get mad at crypto and then refuse to recognize that capitalism operates exactly like crypto. The only difference between crypto and like regular securities is pretty much, or the regular economy is pretty much the lack of regulation, okay? Crypto doesn't even have that minor level of regulation that we have in the form of the SEC. That's it. That's literally it. It's the same bullshit. Why do you think I fucking hate crypto?
Potato. And so they've been passing this back and forth, and just every time they get in power, they print a bunch of money to make everybody happy and do things. So the second someone stops printing money, they turn off the spigot. They stop buying the bad debt. They stop printing money. They start raising interest rates. We're going to have a recession. There's like no way around it. There's going to be a recession, if not a depression. The unfortunate thing for Biden specifically is that it looks like it's finally happening. It looks like the chickens are coming to roost. And so he's sort of getting hit with this no-lose situation, which is where they're in this real catch-22 where the hot potatoes landed here and they can either raise interest rates, collapse the economy, destroy people's pensions, make a real estate worth way less. And so if you tank it, you will lose the election, guaranteed. Or you can print a bunch more money to band-aid it and keep inflation hot and kick it down the road. But the problem is that won't work either, because everyone's so mad about inflation that it looks like the Democrats are about to get absolutely swept in the midterms. And so what they're trying to do is talk a big game about how hard they're going to be on inflation while actually not doing very much about it at all. Because if they actually do anything, it's a collapse. And on the other side of it, if you look at even more zoomed out crazy lens, this is the...
I don't know anyone mad about inflation IRL. Is that weird? Yes, that is weird. What the fuck? How do you not know a single person that's mad about inflation in real life? Have you not seen people fucking react understandably to gas prices and shit, dude? What the fuck? No, dude. People are very, very mad about inflation. Everything is way more expensive, dude.
U.S. national debt. It's $30 trillion. The payments on...
What is he doing? What is he? Is Atriak like a libertarian or something? What the fuck? He's looking at the U.S. national debt clock and shit? What's going on? Dude, I'm actually very chill because of inflation.
On this debt are now one of the biggest parts of the yearly government budget. And one of the best ways to make this debt not a problem is to inflate the currency so much that it's not worth as much. So if you inflate the currency enough, your debt is worth less. The actual what it's actually amount is worth less. And so we're running into a situation where the only way the U.S. can reasonably afford all of the debts that it owes, not just on the national debt, but on Social Security, etc., is to make the amount they owe worth less. So it's kind of a no-win that's all starting to hit right now. Do you think this will increase the value of my Shiba coin? Yes. So that's the whole point. Everything I'm saying today is all to say that Shiba coin is the greatest investment. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. This whole discussion all goes back to Shiba coin, which is what I was trying to say. Can we print more money? So we already are. We already are printing an insane amount of money just to keep this fucking ship going. But we'd have to print some kind of absurd amount on top of this, and that would only further cause the problem. Zoomers are the clutch or kick generation. Yeah, bro. It's all on you guys. I love that. I love that. That's actually a good idea. How about us millennials, anyone in chat? Let's just do what the boomers did and kick the can. The clock is running out. We might barely make it, and we...
Okay.